I'm 33F, my husband is 34M, and I've just discovered something that has shattered my world. He's been secretly sending money to a child I never knew he had. A child that isn't mine. I found out 2 days ago, and I still feel like I'm living someone else's life. It all started when I was doing our finances. I handle most of our bills and budgeting. We have a shared account for household stuff and separate personal accounts, but we're transparent with each other. Or so I thought. I noticed a series of monthly cash transfers from his personal account to a name I didn't recognize. It was a woman's name. At first I thought maybe it was a relative or some loan payment, but the amount was significant, like £500 every month. My stomach did a flip. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he's helping a friend in need or paying someone back. But why not tell me? We don't usually hide money stuff. My mind started going to dark places. Was he cheating? Paying off a mistress or something? I felt guilty thinking it, but my gut was screaming that something was off. That evening, I casually asked him about our accounts. Like, hey, what's this transfer every month to woman's name? The moment I said the name, I saw it. A flash of panic in his eyes. He mumbled, "It's nothing, just helping out an old friend." Every alarm bell in my body went off. I pressed, "Who is this friend, and why haven't you mentioned her?" He got defensive and said, "It's personal. I promised not to talk about it." We have zero history of infidelity, to my knowledge, and he's never given me reason to doubt him before. Seeing him stonewall me was terrifying. I kept pushing, probably a bit hysterical at that point, because I just knew something was very, very wrong. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of me interrogating and him deflecting, he blurted out, "All right, she's my daughter." I swear I felt the world spin. I had to sit down. Those words didn't make sense. We don't have kids. We'd been talking loosely about maybe trying next year. I stammered, "What do you mean your daughter? Whose daughter?" He looked like he wanted to evaporate, but he finally confessed. He has a 5-year-old little girl from before we were married, and he's been sending money to the child's mother every month. I think I went into shock. I couldn't even process the words. Then the questions came pouring out. Before we were married? With who? How could you not tell me you have a child? I was practically yelling. My husband, let's call him Tom, started crying. I've barely ever seen him cry. He kept saying, "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, I should have told you, I was scared, I'm sorry." Eventually, through a lot of tears, his, and rage, mine, I got the basic story. The child was from a one-night stand Tom had a few months before we got engaged. He didn't know the woman well. She was an old acquaintance he ran into. They had too much to drink and hooked up once. He swears he had no idea she got pregnant until after we were married. Apparently she, I'll call her Jane, reached out to him about 4 years ago. We'd been married a year by then, and told him he had a daughter. She made it clear she didn't want to break up our marriage. She just wanted financial support, and for him to maybe be involved as a father if he wanted. He says he nearly had a breakdown when he found out. He was terrified to tell me. He thought I'd leave him. So, according to him, he and Jane came to an arrangement. He would send money regularly to help raise the child, but he wouldn't tell me, at least not until he found the right time, which apparently was never. Jane agreed, he says, because she didn't want drama either and was struggling financially, so something was better than nothing. So for the past 4 years, 4 fucking years, my husband has been secretly funneling money to this woman and his daughter. Our money, essentially. Money that we could have used for our life. We've been saving for a house deposit. That money could have helped. Not to mention the emotional betrayal of knowing he has a child out there that he hid from me. When he told me all this, I was just numb. I remember coldly asking, "Have you met her? Your daughter?" He hesitated, then nodded. I felt another surge of rage and hurt. He has met this child multiple times, behind my back. While I'm at work or out of town visiting my mom, he's been off playing dad in secret, and lying to me about where he was. I cannot even describe the combination of fury and heartbreak I feel. This little girl, innocent in all this, has a father who comes to see her and a mother who presumably knows about me, yet I'm in the dark like a fool. I asked him, "Does Jane know that I don't know?" He said initially Jane assumed he had told me. It wasn't until maybe a year or 2 into the arrangement that she realized I was clueless. Apparently, when he kept making excuses for why I never came along, or why he was only available at odd times. According to him, she actually urged him several times to please just be honest with me, because she hated the deceit, but he refused because he was trying to protect me. What the actual hell? By the point he finished this confession, I was done. I just told him I needed space, and I left. I'm now at my sister's place. I feel like my life is a lie. The man I love and trust, who I thought was my partner in everything, has been lying to my face our entire marriage. He has a daughter. And not only did he hide her existence, he actively goes and plays Father of the Year while pretending to be child-free with me. He was always an attentive, loving husband. That's what's killing me. Up until 2 days ago, I would have sworn on my life that this man would never lie to me, let alone about something this huge. Honesty was something we always promised each other, especially since we've both seen marriages ruined by lies in our families. For him to keep this secret, it's like I don't know who he is. And in hindsight, I keep replaying moments in our marriage and seeing them in a twisted new light. For example, whenever I bring up when we might start having kids of our own, He was a bit hesitant. He'd say, "Let's wait a little longer, no rush." I used to agree or not think much of it. Now I wonder if it's because he felt guilty or conflicted, knowing he already had a child. It makes me sick to think even our life plans were influenced by this secret. I haven't spoken much to him in the last 2 days. He's blowing up my phone with texts, apologizing, begging to talk. He says he was going to tell me that every day it ate at him, but the longer he waited, the more he felt like he'd missed the window. And then it was too late, and he didn't know how to confess without losing me. He actually had the nerve to say he did it because he didn't want to hurt me. I replied to one text, like, "And now? Now I'm not hurt?" I'm beyond hurt. I'm devastated, humiliated. I'm also so angry at Jane, the other woman, even though logically, I know this is mostly on my husband. But part of me is furious that she went along with this. How do you agree to keep someone's wife in the dark? Maybe she thought she was doing the right thing, or felt she had no choice. I don't know. I haven't spoken to her at all. I didn't even have her number until this blew up. I only knew her name. Hell, I didn't know she or the child existed until 48 hours ago. I have so many mixed emotions. There's a tiny part of me that always wanted kids with Tom, and now to know he actually has a kid. Just not with me. It hurts in a way I can't articulate. Like I wasn't enough, or I was second choice, or that our future kids, if we had any, would have a half-sibling I was oblivious to. I don't know what to do. Right now I'm just trying to breathe and get through each day. My sister has been great, letting me crash here and rant and cry as needed. She's as shocked as I am. I haven't even told my parents yet because I'm mortified and not ready for the whole family to know. A couple of my close friends know, and their reactions range from "divorce him yesterday" to "maybe you can work through this in therapy since the actual cheating happened before marriage." But the cheating isn't even the main issue. It's the lying for years. I feel betrayed and also weirdly guilty, like, was I so unapproachable that he felt he couldn't tell me something this huge, but then I snap out of that? That's my shock talking, or his excuses echoing in my head. This is on him. He lied, repeatedly, for years. I've been avoiding his calls, but I did text him that I'm safe and just need time. He offered to come to my sister's to talk in person. I said no, not yet. I don't know if I even want to see his face right now. Part of me misses him, or rather misses the husband I thought I had, and craves his presence because I'm hurt. And the other part of me wants to strangle him for what he's done. And then there's the little girl. What's going to happen to her if I go nuclear? I feel awful because none of this is her fault. If I divorce him, that's her father going through a breakup too, though she's young and might not understand now, but eventually. Not that me staying would necessarily make it better for her. Honestly, I have no idea what's best in this mess. Do I have it in me to accept that my husband has a child with someone else, and that this child would be a part of my life? I always said honesty and trust were my lines in the sand. He blew those up spectacularly. I'm at a crossroads. I haven't made any concrete decisions yet. Right now it's just pain and confusion. I never thought I'd be the person posting on Reddit about something like this, but here I am. I could really use some outside perspective. Should I even consider forgiving him and working through this? Or is this betrayal just too enormous to come back from? TLDR, my husband hid from me that he has a 5-year-old child from a pre-marriage fling. He's been secretly paying the child's mother and even meeting his kid for years, all behind my back. I'm shattered and don't know if I can ever trust him again or what to do next. Update 1. First, thank you all for the outpouring of support and advice. It's been about a week since my original post, and it feels like a year has passed. I have some updates. A few days after finding out, I finally agreed to talk to Tom face to face. We met at our house. My sister came with me initially for support, then gave us privacy. I was extremely anxious. He looked like he hadn't slept. The first thing he did was try to hug me, and I kind of froze and backed away. I told him to just talk. Tom was a mess. He apologized over and over. I told him I didn't want apologies, I wanted answers. Honest answers for once, so he told me more details. Some matched what he said before, but a few things made my stomach twist. He admitted the one-night stand with Jane wasn't quite as random as he made it seem. They weren't close friends or anything, but they had hung out a few times in a group before that drunken hookup. So, not a total stranger. I suspect he downplayed it initially to make it seem as meaningless as possible. He also admitted that his best friend knew about it from the start. In fact, that friend was with him the night he hooked up with Jane, and was there when Jane told him about the pregnancy later. The friend had urged him back then to be honest with me. Hearing that was another punch to the gut. So basically, one of our friends knew I was being lied to this whole time. I can't even be mad at the friend right now. This is 100% on my husband. Apparently the friend almost told me himself at one point, but Tom begged him not to. Perhaps the hardest. Tom has been more involved with his daughter than he initially let on. It's not just a few brief meetups. He's been seeing her at least once a month, sometimes more. He even went to her 5th birthday party a few months ago by taking a day off work, while I was at my job, oblivious. He tried to frame them as short visits, but it's clear he's developed a real relationship with her. He broke down sobbing about how wonderful she is, how he hated himself for not being able to be a full dad to her, and hated himself even more for lying to me. At this point, I was just quietly crying. It's weird. I felt simultaneously numb and like every word was a new cut. I asked him what exactly he envisioned happening long-term if I hadn't discovered this. Were we just never going to have kids and he'd secretly support this other family forever? Would he ever have told me? He said he planned to tell me one day, maybe when the child was older, a non-answer if I've ever heard one. Basically, he buried his head in the sand, hoping the problem would somehow disappear or become easier. Ridiculous. We eventually shifted to, what now? He is desperate to fix this, or at least try. He actually suggested couples therapy, which, to be fair, many of you also recommended if I was open to any reconciliation. He said he's willing to do anything. Total transparency with his phone, finances, schedule, answering any question, sleeping on the couch forever, whatever. He also said he'd understand if I left, but he was literally begging me not to throw away our marriage without trying to work through it. Hearing, "Don't throw us away," made me snap. I told him, "You threw us away when you decided to lie to me for 4 years." He just kept saying how sorry he was. I told him I needed to talk to Jane. If there's any hope of moving forward, I need to hear from her directly. He looked uneasy but agreed to let her know I'd be reaching out. I made it clear. I wasn't looking for a catfight or to blame her for everything, but I did need some answers from her and to see if their stories lined up. A couple days later, I met Jane. Without Tom. I insisted on one-on-one. Well, I brought my sister along for backup and witness, and Jane was fine with that. We met at a cafe. I recognized her from some old photos of Tom's college group. She's pretty and seemed nervous as hell to meet me. It was, actually very civil, though emotional. Jane was very apologetic. She said she had wanted to tell me when she first informed Tom about the child, but he begged her not to, saying he needed to be the one to tell me. She gave him time. When it became clear he still hadn't told me, even as her daughter, I'll call the little girl Anna, grew into a toddler, she confronted him. She told him if he didn't tell me, she felt terrible keeping it secret. According to her, that was approximately 3 years ago, so about a year into their arrangement. He begged again for more time, saying we were going through a rough patch then. And yes, around that time we had moved cities for my job and I was really stressed. He used that as an excuse. He kept stringing her along with promises that he'd do it soon. She felt conflicted but also was afraid if she gave me a heads up without his consent he'd react by cutting contact or support, which would hurt Anna. She said she hated the situation and was relieved when I found out on my own, because the secrecy was eating at her too. Jane confirmed that Tom has been a consistent presence in Anna's life. Anna knows Tom as her dad. She does not know about me at all. She's only 5, and I guess it never came up in a way that needed explaining. I suspect that conversation was coming soon, given the age. Jane said she always expected that eventually Tom would tell me and then maybe I'd meet Anna. Or if I left him, he might become even more involved with Anna. But as years passed, Jane started losing respect for Tom, understandably, and was preparing to tell me herself. And then I discovered everything. She actually said, "I'm so sorry. I should have told you earlier. I just didn't know how. I'm relieved you know now. I hated all the sneaking around." I asked her point blank if she and Tom ever had any kind of romantic relationship beyond that one night, or since then. She swore it was only that one mistake, and that they co-parent as amicable acquaintances, nothing more. I believed her. I didn't get any sense of lingering romantic tension. In fact, she seemed kind of exhausted by this whole ordeal, like she never wanted this drama. She just wanted to do right by her kid. I left the meetup with Jane feeling oddly calmer. I finally had some truth laid out. No lies or half-truths. Jane wasn't the evil homewrecker I'd imagined in my worst moments. She actually seemed like a decent person caught in a bad situation. I even apologized to her for a nasty text I'd sent in my initial rage. Yeah, I found her number and sent a single text after I left Tom that first night. Something like, "I know about your kid with Tom. Thanks for helping him lie to me for years." She never responded, and I felt a bit guilty about it after hearing her side. She said she understood why I was furious and didn't take it personally, given the circumstances. So where does this leave me and my husband? After talking to Jane, I went back to Tom. These meetings all happened over a span of a few days. I told him I met with her and what I learned. He didn't even try to deny or spin anything. He just looked utterly ashamed. I think he knows there's zero room for BS anymore. I told him I'm considering trying therapy, but made no promises beyond that. I said my trust in him is basically destroyed, and he has to accept that it might never come back, no matter what he does. He said he understands, and that he's grateful I'm even willing to try at all. We have a first appointment with a marriage counselor scheduled for next week. Honestly, I'm still so conflicted. Part of me feels like I'm betraying myself by even giving him a chance after such an enormous betrayal. Another part of me feels like, well, if I don't at least try, since the affair/one night was pre-marriage and he's otherwise been a good partner, I might wonder what if later. I don't know. I have not moved back home. I'm still at my sister's. If we decide to genuinely work on this, it's going to be a long time before I consider moving back in. Trust isn't rebuilt overnight, or in months. Maybe not ever. Also, on practical matters. Some of you urged me to see a lawyer regardless, and I did. I quietly consulted a divorce attorney just to know my options and rights, especially with a child involved. Even though she's not mine, it complicates my husband's obligations. The lawyer said since the child isn't from the marriage, she wouldn't factor into divorce proceedings beyond the fact that my husband's finances, paying support, could affect things like alimony. It was a sobering meeting, but I wanted to be informed. At least I know what divorce could look like, if that's where I end up. As of now, I'm in a strange limbo. I have more clarity on the facts thanks to hearing from everyone involved, but I don't have clarity on my heart. I agreed to couples counseling to see if there's anything left to salvage. I'm extremely doubtful, but at least if I do end it, I can say I tried everything. I'll update again down the line, I promise. For now, I'm taking it day by day, trying not to let the waves of anger and sadness drown me. Thank you again to everyone who offered advice and kindness. You've helped me more than you know. Update 2. Final. It's been about 2 months since my last update. I wish I had a happier conclusion, but here goes. The end of this saga was abrupt and painful. We tried. We really did. We attended couples therapy weekly. In the first few sessions, I mostly vented, okay, yelled, while Tom listened and cried. The therapist helped us navigate some really hard conversations. Tom stayed consistent in his remorse and his willingness to do whatever it takes. For a little while, I thought maybe there was a path forward if I could heal, and if he proved himself over time. But as weeks went by, I noticed something. I was miserable. And not just miserable. I was growing resentful. Every time he went to see Anna, yes, he continued to visit his daughter, with my knowledge now, I felt a knot of anger and pain. He was very transparent about those visits now, always informing me and even offering for me to come along. I never did. But just knowing that this child exists and that he had this whole secret life, I couldn't shake it. I also realized I'd started turning into someone I didn't recognize, checking up on him, harboring constant suspicion, swinging between clinginess and rage. I'd never been that person. One night he was 15 minutes late to our therapy session because he lost track of time reading a bedtime story to Anna during a visit, and I exploded in the car. I screamed at him, crying, saying things like he should be spending that time with our hypothetical kids, not someone else's. At one point I actually spat out that he should go live with your bastard child and the mistress, since he seemed to want to play happy family so much. The second it came out of my mouth, I regretted it. Anna is innocent and not a bastard, but I was just so hurt. I realized this situation was bringing out the absolute worst in me. The breaking point came during a therapy session. The therapist carefully brought up what a future would look like if we stayed together, specifically that Anna would, in some form, be part of our life. She asked me if I could ever see a way to accept and integrate that reality. I think she wanted me to confront it head on. I just stared at her, then at Tom, and I burst into tears. Ugly, hysterical crying. Tom started crying too and said, I hope one day you could meet her. She's a great kid. I'd love for us all to be a family. I think something in me snapped, or maybe unsnapped. I remember choking out, I can't do this. I realized, in that moment, that I will never be okay with any of this. I will never be able to look at that child and not feel the betrayal. It's not her fault at all, but I knew I'd always have that pang of she should not exist in my life. And I'd never fully trust my husband again, not the way a marriage needs. I just knew. The therapist ended the session a bit early because I was just sobbing uncontrollably. Tom and I sat in the car afterward. He was quietly panicking, saying, we don't have to rush anything. You don't have to meet her until you're ready. It can be on your terms. Trying to comfort me. I just looked at him and said, very quietly, it's not about meeting her. It's that I will never be okay. I thought I could, but I can't. I don't think I'll ever trust you again. I don't want to be in this marriage anymore. He just froze, then started sobbing, saying, please don't do this. I love you. I'll never forgive myself. We can find a way. I shook my head and just repeated, I can't. That was the end of it. I moved out officially that week. I had only partially moved back home. I never fully unpacked there, to be honest. I'm typing this from a tiny one-bedroom flat I'm renting. The divorce papers have been filed. When he got served, he called me crying and asking me to reconsider, but by then I was resolute. The next day, he actually showed up at my door. He wasn't angry or begging, he just looked shattered. He said he understands why it's come to this, and he's so sorry he destroyed our life. We talked and cried for a couple hours. Oddly, it was the most calm and honest conversation we'd had in a long time. I told him I'll always care about him, but I can't get past this. He told me I'll always be the love of his life, and he's eternally sorry his cowardice ruined it. It was heartbreaking, but it gave a bit of closure, I guess. So that's where we are. We haven't worked out all the divorce details yet, but since we have no kids together and we were renting, it's fairly straightforward. We agreed to keep it amicable. He'd better, frankly, if he tried to fight me on this after all he's done, the fury that would awaken in me. But I don't think he will. He feels too guilty. Emotionally, I'm wrecked, but also somewhat relieved. The limbo of the last 2 months is over. The moment I decided and told him I wanted a divorce, I felt this wave of sorrow and a strange calm. Like I finally accepted the reality. It hurts like hell. I won't lie, I cry a lot, especially at night. But in my gut, I know it's the right choice. Staying was slowly poisoning me. And honestly, it wouldn't have been fair to him or to Anna either, to have me perpetually resentful. Nights are the hardest. I miss the man I thought I married. It's like he died, in a way, on the day I found out about all this. I'm mourning that person, even though the real him is still out there. I know eventually I'll be okay. I have a great support system. My sister is an angel, and my friends have been amazing. I'm continuing with individual therapy. I'm also trying to separate my anger from Anna. I don't want to carry bitterness toward an innocent child. My hope is that with time and distance, I can let that go. As for Tom, from the little communication we've had, just logistical stuff, I gather he's stepping up to be a much more involved father to Anna now. I suppose one silver lining is that with our marriage essentially over, he doesn't have to hide his daughter anymore, and can be in her life openly. I do truly hope he does right by her. He already lost a wife. He shouldn't make his daughter pay for his mistakes too.